Hi everyone, it's Ben here, Somerset Foodie. Today we're bashing out one of our absolute family favourites. It's the good old-fashioned chili con carne, which sometimes people think is a little bit old hat, but actually it is full of unbelievable flavours. And lots of people probably could cook chili con carne, bit of chili powder, bit of beef. However, to make a sensational chili con carne, you just need a few really good ingredients. So today we're going to use a few of our real Mexican ingredients that we've got on our website. We're going to use dried ancho chilies, and we're going to use chipotles in adobo sauce. That's going to be the real kind of grunt part of the chili. With that, we're going to make a beautiful Mexican green rice. So that's going to be using the poblano chilies, and then we've got an absolute cracking little banging salsa, which is really simple to use, and that just uses our little El Yacatico habanero red salsa. So, chili con carne isn't one of those bash it out in 10 minutes and there's supper on the table. It does require a fair amount of organisation, and there's a little bit of work involved. But if you can get up, say, on a Saturday morning, do the work, get it on the stove, have your busy day, when you come back, have a nice glass of wine, whatever, bingo, there's supper ready to go. So, let's crack on with this. So the first thing to do is to get your ancho chilies. So these look a little bit like sort of shriveled up prunes. They're actually, it's a poblano chili that's just been dried. So if you can hear that, they're full of seeds, but what you need to do is soak them, just rip them apart. Now the seeds will be quite sort of, there'll be quite a lot of chili heat in the seeds, so use as much or as little of the seeds as you like. Rip them up, a bit of hot water over them, and soak them for about 20 minutes. That's all that's required. Once you've got these soaking, you can just bash away, chop up your onions. I've got 3 onions here that I've finely diced, and about 3 sticks of celery. You need to peel some garlic. So I'm also using, this is a good old-fashioned supermarket green chili that's fairly anonymous kind of thing. They are actually called Serrano chilies. We can just quickly chop that up. Again, I just whack the lot in. Once these are soaked down, we can just blitz them up into a little paste, really. So we just blitz that down. Look at that, that's a nice smooth paste. Let's talk about the chipotles. So if we look in the jar here, so the chipotles are smoked jalapeno. So that's what it looks like. We'll get that out on our board. And they're in something called adobo sauce, which is really just a tomato-based sauce. Look, that one's a bit smaller, so that'll probably be about enough for me. And it's great because it comes in a little handy jar, so I can put the lid on, put that back in the fridge, and use it for another time. We've got the chipotles on the board, and we just need to run a knife through them. They're very soft already. So there's such a lovely smoky flavour coming off these, and we'll just use a knife into a little puree, and they're ready to rock and roll. Right, we're ready to start cooking now. So we're using a little bit of mince. You can use a bit of shin or brisket or chunkier cuts, but mince is pretty easy to get hold of, so we're going for that. So let's get a pan on the go. We have this pan on a little bit so it's nice and hot. Nice glug of oil in there. Now, the secret of this, okay, get this nice and hot, get this mince in here, and what we're trying to do is get this really brown. So we can just leave that alone and don't poke it or mess around with it. That's just going to start getting nice and brown underneath. Cooking away, I've given it a little stir just to turn it a little bit, and you will get a little bit of water that comes out of it. So looking at what's going on here, we just want to get rid of that water, so it's just going to evaporate out of the pan, and that allows us, with the kind of fat that's in the mince and the oil that we put in the pan, that will then create a real nice brown on the meat. As this mince is cooking away, we can now start putting some of our dry spices in. So I've got a couple of teaspoons of cumin seeds, a couple of teaspoons of allspice, ground allspice, And we're just going to use a teaspoon of the smoked paprika. This is fantastic. If you ever used this before, this is the hot smoked paprika. Actually a couple of teaspoons is going to just go in there now. Right, so the mince has been cooking nicely. It's got a nice bit of colour on it, and those spices are smelling amazing. We can now just go straight in with our onions and our celery. It's time now to just add in the fresh chilli that we cut up a bit earlier, and then the garlic. Now, you can't overdo garlic. I've got 6 cloves of garlic, so literally just going to smash them up a little bit with this knife, and then we'll just run it through, and that's going in as well. That's been cooking away for about 5-6 minutes. Time to start all the little finishing touches, and then we can just forget about it. So those chipotles that we chopped up, in they go. In goes with the ancho chili paste. That is going to be amazing. I've got a couple of teaspoons here of dried oregano, and we'll just give that a little stir through. This is really the last little bits. So we're going to add some tomato. So this is our fantastic cans of tomato that are just glorious. You can actually just eat that straight from the tin. It is beautifully fresh tasting. And then should have probably said this earlier, but make about 500 ml of beef stock. So that's pretty much it. You can see that it looks quite loose, and that's a good thing, because we're just gonna cook that down now. It's got to have a little space for all those flavours to amalgamate, and just really bash a lid on it. Go and canoe rivers, play cricket, do whatever you fancy. It's a Saturday. We're going to leave that gently blipping away on a very low heat for about 2 hours, really. That's it. So our chili's been cooking for just under 2 hours now. I'm just going to take the lid off and let some of these juices just kind of come down a little bit, just to thicken it up and just intensify all those flavours. I'm also just going to add a little bit more salt, which we didn't do at the start, but it's really easy just to adjust your seasoning towards the end. And that's just going to sit there now and blip away and reduce down whilst we get the other bits ready. It's now time to get on with the rice and the salsa. So the first job is to cook the rice. So I think I've done this before. A builder's cup like that is perfect for 4 people. So it literally, I'm going to put it into a sieve. We're just going to wash that thoroughly under the sieve, and then I'll whack it in here and leave it to soak in some cold water for about 20 minutes. Mix up a little bit of chicken stock, or if you want, you can use veg stock. This is where our poblano chilies come in. What we're going to do is blitz up a kind of green sludge, if you like, that's going to cook in the rice. I'm going to go for probably half this can, half an onion. So, and then we just have to really just whack this into small bits. I'll leave the root out. And that's going to go into our little mini processor. Some garlic. We can just chop that up. I've got a load of fresh coriander. So now we might struggle to get all of this coriander in a oneer. So what I'm going to do is have a few blitz and then keep adding the coriander with so we can now add a bit more coriander because there's a bit more space. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. Now it's time just to make the salsa. This is a really simple salsa, and the nice thing about having this is the freshness of these ingredients absolutely works perfectly with the kind of rich, intense flavours of the chili. So we're literally just gonna dice up a few tomatoes into little dice like that. Okay, so that's the last of the tomatoes diced up. We're just gonna add a little bit of red onion and finally dicing that up. Onion is such It's such the fundamental basis for so many things. Learning how to chop an onion up quickly and kind of without much hassle is a really good skill to kind of get to grips with. So we can finally dice that onion up in no time at all. Leave the root behind. Keep your fingers out of the way so you don't chop them off. Add that in with our tomatoes. And then here's the bad boy. So this is our El Yakutico habanero salsa, the red one, not the black one that we do. Give it a good shake. Habanero is just got that absolutely beautiful kind of sweet, peppery, chili kick. Now, see, the hotter you like your salsa, the more you should use. But that is all the kind of seasoning we really need for that salsa. We'll just finish that with the last few little chops of coriander. Again, no need to ever take the leaves off coriander. Stalks and all, absolutely fine. So in that goes. Chili con carne is reduced down quite nicely. All we've got to do is cook the rice, but I've got to add the beans in. So beans, obviously, an essential part of Mexican food. And I have to say, red kidney beans are okay. In Mexico, you never really see them being eaten. Pinto beans and black beans are much more popular. So we've got some black beans that we're going to add. So I've got a can of those going in.
Show us the beans.
So that's those bad boys. And then borlotti beans, which are very similar to pinto beans. Cooking the green rice, it's pretty simple. It's going to go in with a little bit of oil into that pan to start with, and it's going to whack that rice in. So just toast, we're just literally just toasting this rice, gives it a little nutty flavour, and you just have to do it for a minute or so. Then we've got our green sauce, so that's just going to go in. Just the remains of your stock, so chuck it all in. A little pinch of salt, that's pretty important at this point. Lid on, and that's going to take, my chicken stock was a little bit cold, but about 10 minutes for all that liquid to absorb, and that rice will be done. Okay, everything's done. Our rice is cooked down nicely. The chili's done. I tend to turn the heat off that and let that sit so it's not rammingly hot, and then you can taste everything. We've got our salsa. A nice bit of sour cream is great because it's just mellows things and cools things down, and some lime wedges. So we've got this absolutely beautiful plate here, care of a great friend of ours, Kate Cook. She does some beautiful ceramics, and it's going to look ace in this bowl. So in goes a nice bit of green rice. Let's get the chili over the top, and then nice dollop of sour cream. And then a little bit of the salsa, and a lime wedge, and then we'll just finish that off like that. There it is. That is the tastiest chili con carne known to man. And yeah, all the ingredients are available on our website, somersetfoodie.com. And yeah, really hope you have a go at this chili and amaze yourself and amaze any friends. It'll be great. See you soon. Bye.